What's up, everybody? It's your main man, 360 the Poet. Hey, Las Vegas, get ready to celebrate Freedom Day with Rainbow Dreams Educational Foundation at the 23rd Annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival. It's going down Saturday, June 15th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Expo World Market Center located at 435 South Grand Central Parkway. Join us for a Jubilee celebration like no other, featuring food, vendors, live DJs, prizes, and a free concert you won't want to miss, featuring Billboard Top 10 artist Jay Brown, along with Maya Milan, Vice City, and Vegas' own Ray Millie. Free health screenings provided by Southern Nevada Health District. There's a kid zone, prizes, giveaways, and more. Empowering people and igniting the culture at the 23rd Annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival. For more information or to register for your e-tickets, visit June19lv.com. That's June19lv.com. This event is powered by Zappos, Google, and the Love Live campaign. Love freely, love openly, love fearlessly. Live you equals you.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
Hi. Hey.
What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Karen Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com. And where you at and what you doing? What's up, Lucy Lowe? We in this thing like a wedgie with you, babe. What's happening with all y'all out there? It's hump day. So y'all know what time it is, baby. It's time to holla at the homie. What's going on? I am your dog, Thompson. How you doing out there? Cracking out there in this here thing. We in here holding it down, y'all. And I appreciate y'all each and every Wednesday. Y'all come in here hollering at the homie up in this thing on hot7025fm.com or right here on my Instagram or Facebook Live. So what y'all been doing since the last time we talked? Y'all let me know. Anytime y'all want to drop a line to me, make sure you hit me up on that holla at the homie at gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTHAHOMIE at gmail.com. So, dang, I meant to do what my homeboy Sterling told me to do and put the topic on as a banner on my live. I forgot to do that, man. Good googly moogly. But sometimes it be happening like that. My engineer can probably get it going over on the Facebook side of things, but on the Instagram side of things, I missed that window now that I'm live with y'all. But, you know, we got a good question today. And since it is wedding season, we in the midst of wedding season. You know, wedding season starts around the end of April and goes all the way through like October. Some people extend it into November, depending on your geographic region and where you're going to get things taken care of. It's rare that people have them in December, January, February, March, just due to inclement weather and how the weather can change no matter where you are. So that's sometimes you have to ask yourself that question, like, is it possible that it can rain on my wedding day? Like, and you can be inside. You know, but what about if you got to go from inside one venue to inside another venue? So now people getting soggy in between, and that's just not a good feeling, especially when you got people dealing with hair and makeup and nails and shoes and dresses and tuxedos or whatever you decide to wear. You can wear dashikis. You don't want them to get wet either. Regardless of what you're getting married in, you know, people don't want to get all that soggy. So that's why wedding season is usually into April all the way through like October-ish, you know, based off your geographic region. But I don't know if nobody want to get married out here in Vegas right now. Man, listen, it's hotter than a camel's ass outside. And I'm going to tell you how I know that, because you got to think about it. Camels is in the desert. Ass is hot, camels is hot. So imagine you put them together, it's hotter than that outside. Heat warning is in effect. So anybody that's out there, make sure you hydrate. And I got me a whole jug of water over here, a juggernaut of water. in my good old Dolphins mug here, my little, what you call these things? The ones that keep the double walls. Yeah, you know, you got to keep them. What's going on, Mrs. Contreras? Always good to see you in the building. Always good to have the people come back like boomerangs in this thing. You know, that's how we do it. But we got a good one on deck today. I always like to give my disclosure. Always got my disclaimer, to say, let y'all know, hey, I've never been to school for, never paid tuition for, never been granted an honorary certificate for any type of psychology, psychiatry, and or counseling. But what I have done is I've lived a colorful life. And through that colorful life, I actually, had the instances of being around other people who have lived colorful lives, and I've sponged up a lot of that game, living vicariously through them, and I'm able to squeeze that right back out here to y'all. And then also always got my peanut gallery too. My peanut gallery, I like y'all out there because y'all tune in and tap in, and y'all make sure I know what's on y'all mind at the same time as I'm letting the world know how I would, Again, I never tell anybody what to do. I just give you options of what can be done. And that's how it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So I hope some of y'all heard that Juneteenth commercial that we just played on the air. We got the Juneteenth celebration. If you need the information on that, get up June19lv.com. June19lv.com is what we talking about around this thing. So, look at me, y'all. Got to fix my rubber. Sometimes you gotta make sure they don't slide off, dog. For those of y'all who've had that problem sometimes, you gotta make sure they don't come off. It ain't reaching the bottom, so you gotta make sure you hold on to it. Make sure he can cover everything up. But anyway, that's them people problems. But like I said, we got a good one on deck today, and it is wedding season, so I felt it was, perfect to address this particular letter. I've been holding on to this one for a couple of weeks because I wanted to get a couple of other ones out of there. But the person who wrote it was okay with it because he said that the wedding wasn't for a couple of months. The planning of it wasn't for a couple more months, and he had to make a decision about. So we're going to dive straight into it. Like I say, welcome back to another episode of Holla at the Homie. We got somebody by the name of Big Brother Little Love that sent us a letter today, and we're going to dive into it. Like I said, it says, Dear Holla at the Homie, I have a question for you that I'm truly having difficulty finding an answer to myself. Let me start by saying that I am the oldest of 3 children. Our parents were high school sweethearts, and they are still together living happily to this day. Being the firstborn has never been all it's been cracked up to be for me. It was almost as if as I grew up with the responsibility of being an additional parent for my younger siblings. Though I'm only 3 years older than one sibling and 5 years older than the youngest sibling, my parents have always looked in my direction when it came to keeping them in order. It would seem as if we would create sort of bond between us little ones, but it actually drove a wedge between me and them. Oftentimes, it's felt as if our parents would have me play the role of disciplinarian just so the younger ones wouldn't be upset with them, ultimately strengthening their bond with our parents while simultaneously breaking down the bond that I shared with my siblings. Eventually, I began to resent them all, which led me to separate myself from them as much as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, I still come around and participate in family activities, but to them, I am considered somewhat of an outsider. So much that recently my younger brother got engaged and I had to find out about it through social media. Yet my parents and sister were there for the big surprise and I wasn't even invited. Now, I'm not going to lie, it hurt. I swallowed my pride and gave congratulations anyway, even though deep down I feel some type of way about it. Now, my brother and his fiance have selected their wedding party, and I'm not even on the list of the 8 groomsmen. To top that off, I'm not even asked to be an usher. This makes me feel slighted and unseen by my own younger brother. So fast forward to my question for you, homie. Am I wrong for not wanting to even attend my brother's wedding? Do my actions seem childish or over melodramatic? Please help me weave my way through this twisted maze. Sincerely, Big Brother Little Love. Ooh, Big Brother Little Love, man. Ooh, this one kind of, some stuff hits close to the crib sometimes, but just not really right there. I've seen it happen to people around me where people don't get invited to be a part of their wedding and it makes them feel a certain type of way. What's up, Keena Creates? It makes them feel a certain type of way. You know what I mean? So when you when you're having a wedding, right, and you got siblings and you want to try to include them as much as possible. So I get that. I get that. If you're a sibling, you want to be involved in it. Like, but, I can see if it was more like, okay, it was your sister that wasn't asked. You as a sister, you weren't asked to be a groomsman, to be in the wedding because he wasn't marrying somebody. The bride wasn't asking you to be a part of the wedding. That I understand. But this your own brother. Hit a little bit harder. Like, you a guy, he one of the guys. I can see if he didn't ask you to be his best man because, sometimes, friends become closer than us and more brotherly than some of our own siblings at times. So I get if he didn't ask you to be the best man, but to not even ask you to be a groomsman, not even an usher, that kind of goes back to earlier in the letter where you talked about how you sort of to, ostracize yourself from the crew. So maybe it was something deeply rooted in that. Deep rooted in that part of y'all's relationship, right? I'll be the first to admit. What's up, Dakarai? I'd be the first to admit. Family dynamics, like the dynamics between family members, between family and family, like they can be complex as hell. Like the way you said, help me get through this twisted maze. That's the family dynamic. Family dynamics are a maze. Those are the things that kind of like have you stuck between a hard place and another stiff place. You know what I mean? So especially when you feel like you're stuck in the role where you don't fit. If you feel like you in this role, like, let's break down your situation and see if we can find a way to help you move forward. By that, I mean, like, if you feel like you don't fit in the equation in the way in which they've put you in it, that's a little bit harder to navigate through, right? So, like, being the oldest, it comes with its own challenges. I wouldn't know. I'm not the oldest. I'm actually the youngest. So I wouldn't know what that end of the spectrum entails. But what's going on, Danny Duke? I wouldn't know what that end of the spectrum entails, but I would know what the other end of the spectrum is all about. Like, sometimes you're overlooked as the youngest. Sometimes you're like, not asked your opinion as the youngest. But I'm just saying, these are things that do occur. But as the oldest, I couldn't speak from that, So some of my people who are the oldest tap in with me. What'd you say, Tonisha Bell? Sibling rivalry. My son's 5 years apart. Not closest oldest feel how this. Your closest feels how this gentleman feels, and I get it. I get it. Like my oldest sister and I are 7 years apart. Well, 6.5 technically, but 7 years based off the year. She born in 70, I'm born in 77, right? So we technically 7 years apart. So we didn't grow up like the closest because, we can't even play together, but we're the ones that grew up in the same house together. Like, I do have other siblings, I got other sisters, and then I got cousins that were like my sisters that I grew up with. And even the dynamic with me and them, Shabi and Shamar, like, or Rachel and Chanel, like, the dynamic was even different within our whole circle, right? So I felt like it was more my responsibility as either the baby brother or just being a brother, period, to try to find out where I fit. So I didn't really have the sibling rivalry. Don't get me wrong. I think my older sister, Adrian, she hated me. I don't care what anybody says. She'll tell you to this day she couldn't stand me. We didn't get along till I was 18. Like, we didn't really hold a full conversation till I was 18 on my way out the crib. We got poor baby, wah, wah, wah. People always, that must be coming from somebody who's the oldest. See, when the oldest always want to chime, or a middle child. Middle children really be confused. They don't know whether they want to be sad. They don't know if they want to be bossy. Middle children are just confused. But when you the oldest and you got younger siblings who have probably sang this same song or played this same violin, it hits home a little bit differently for you because you feel like you're under attack. I'm not attacking any older sibling because this person is actually the oldest of all the siblings. So ostracizing himself may have been his form of security. That may have been his security blanket, right? So, like, especially when his parents expect him to take on the pseudo-parental role. Like, would you say, Dakari, you say, I can speak on this personally. My oldest brother didn't include me as a groomsman. I felt bad about it, but he's 5 years older and he had a college friends as groomsmen. And I get that too. I get all of that. Because I had people turn me down to be a groomsman. You know what I mean? I ain't talking about you, Dag. I know you had ish going on. I'm not talking about you, brother. I'm talking about like my own son turned me down to be a groomsman. So family dynamics hit different when it comes to these setting this wedding party. What'd you say, Mrs. Contreras? But did he distance himself from the get-go? And that's what he says. Like he started to distance himself a while ago, but he said he would still come around for family functions, is what he said. So just to recap, we got an individual who wrote in the letter asking, is he wrong for not wanting to go to his brother's wedding because his brother didn't ask him to be in the wedding party, not even an usher in the wedding. So he's the oldest of 3 siblings. He's got a younger sister and a younger brother. So he wasn't asked to be at the surprise of the celebration as far as like the engagement, or he wasn't asked to be a part of the wedding party. So, and then the question was asked by Mrs. Contreras, did he distance himself from the get-go? So what our writer has said, Big Brother Lil Love, says that he started to separate himself years ago, is what he said, but he still would come around for family functions. So it's not like he was just like middle finger 2 birds to y'all. He just came at it like, I'm gonna be over here, y'all be over there. When we all come together, I'm gonna show up. What'd you say there, E? He said, they don't like you, big brother. You probably were mean to them. And he says that though, like he says like his parents forced him to be the disciplinarian. That's your question. That's helping to answer your question too, Mrs. Contreras. Why did he distance himself? He said his parents caused him to be the disciplinarian, which he thought would be more of a bond builder. What's going on, McFadden? Good to see you back, my lady. He thought it would be more of a bond builder between him and his younger siblings, but it actually drove a wedge between them and making it seem like the parents were the good guys and he was the bad guy villain. So now it caused him to separate himself from the family because he didn't like the way that made him feel. Like you say, yes, Banks, Mrs. Banks, go get some therapy, sir. Yes, by all means, I'm always going to recommend professional help because this is a deeply rooted issue. This ain't just begin right now when you didn't get a save the date for me and my wife type thing. This all started back in the day. You didn't even get an invite to the engagement party, Big Brother Lil Love. So you had a chance at that moment to be like, damn, hey, I would have liked to have been there. I want to support you and my future sister, but maybe your future sister really don't know much about you because you have been on the outside looking in through social media. See, social media has given us all this false sense of involvement or connection. I'm big on that. Like, if you know me, you got to tell me you sent me something on social media. Like, you got to text my phone or call me. Like, you see that what I sent you? I'll be like, what? Because I'm on here today. I'm on here on Wednesdays. And everybody who tell me, my engineers here, station owners here, tell me like 360. You got to get more social media flips and runs. But I'm more along the lines of like how I feel about this whole dude is on the outside looking in through social media. Now, I can kind of meld between the two and figure like, I don't want to be that way. And I can kind of get myself more involved, in which I wish he would have done more in real life. Because it seems as if he thought he had a sense of connection to his family until he found out. Exactly. Delali, I'm for real. I'm on social media on Wednesday. Like you want to find me, send me a message Tuesday night, Tuesday sometime, and hope that I see it on Wednesday when I get on here. Would you say he needs to go? Show support. Best believe he will remember who was there, who wasn't. Oh, we know. I best believe you gonna remember. His brother gonna remember if he don't show up. Yeah, I can guarantee you that. I still remember. What's going on, neighbor Nicole? I still remember people that didn't show up for my wedding. And I still got an APB out on their asses. Some of them. That's 6 years removed. No, I'm just playing. I don't hold grudges like that, man. I let it go, man. Like I say, I'm not judgmental. Everybody got their own reasons. But now you asking me right now, Big Brother Lil Love, and I looked on your page, and I've seen your brother, and it's a destination wedding. I don't know why you told me I can hold up on this letter. I should have did some research a couple weeks ago. I should have really had you on, because unless you got some points added up on your credit card and you ready to spend them, bruh, you need to already know if you going to this wedding. It ain't happening like right now, but the tickets need to be happening right now. What'd you say? You got to be the bigger brother regardless. Two wrongs don't make a right. And this is so true. And I'm a firm believer, again, because I always going to give you both shoulders. Devil's advocate, angel's advocate, right? And I was just talking about this last night in book club. Two wrongs don't make a right, but three rights make a left turn. That's all I got to say. Sometimes you got to look at it in that perspective as well. What's going on, Jorge? Sometimes you got to look at it in that perspective as well, as far as like, what is right and what is wrong in this. Like, again, let's revisit why you said you started to distance yourself, big brother, little love. You said that the parents made you the bad guy. So now you feel like, since you ostracized yourself and put yourself on the bench as far as family is concerned, unless it was some sort of big event, that you feel like they should have at least invited you to the big events, to be big in the big events. You know what I mean? So, and I get that. I completely understand that. But on the other side, look at where their perspective is. Like, they look at it like, maybe this this whole situation is involving the bride. You got to remember, the wedding day is the bride's day. Yeah, I mean, the husband, the groom is involved, but for the most part, it's the bride's day. It's both of our day. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to say like guy stuff don't count, but a lot of the planning, a lot of the idea of the ideal wedding day, in most cases, not in all, in most cases, it's the bride's day. For the most part. If you want to do percentages, we'll do 60-40. 60% bride's day, 40% groom's day. Because you got to think. You got to wait on her to come down the aisle last. You got to wait on, make sure the dress is together. You got to make sure that she's all right with being out there. They going to ask her last, do you? Do you do? Because you may say yes, and she be like, you know what? No, I don't like the way you said your vows. I'm done. I'm out. So you got to, you said more like 70-30. Or I mean, it might be 70-30 in some cases, but it's a lot of it more involved. So you got to look at it from both perspectives, big brother, little love. You can't look at it as just being snubbed. Like, yeah, exactly. It's her wedding and your marriage. Exactly. I feel you on that one. But like, don't look at it as being a wedding snub. What he said, it used to be the woman's day. We're in 2024. It's both of their day. And I'm glad that a lot of these perspectives are coming out of the woodworks. And I'm hoping that there are more balances coming along the line in the future. And I'm hoping that this wedding that Big Brother Lil Love's brother and future sister is more balanced in that way as well. But you got to look at this common situation in many families, but it doesn't make it any less difficult when the older brother or sister has to raise the younger siblings. It doesn't make it any less difficult to be able to balance that, right? It's to put a strain on the relationship between the siblings. Like, I still don't like to be told what to do by anybody, especially a woman. I hate for women to just tell me what to do. It pisses me off. And it's psychologically rooted, which I found out through my therapy, my session a couple of weeks ago, that this is something that's deeper. You know what I mean? Because of how I was talked to by women back in the day. I got all older sisters and female influences in my life. So they would tell me, sit your little ass down somewhere. And I don't want to hear that from nobody now. You can correct me, but don't chastise me. You know what I mean? So this is a way you got to look at it, big brother, that they may not be looking at it as if they're snubbing you, but just protecting themselves from how you are acting towards them. You know what I always say? When you point the finger, 3 fingers point right back at you. That stands for me, myself, and I. And how are those people involved in the blame in this game? Think about that. You can't just point the finger and be like, this is you, because it's still me, myself, and I that are involved in this equation as well. It's not one-sided. You can't do math with one number. Don't add up. I be dropping some jewels. Y'all better write this down. You can't do math with one number, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be some type of equation for it shit to be able to add up, to subtract, divide it, multiply, whatever you're doing with it, right? So you got to look at it from their side. It's tough because your parents probably thought that they were doing the right thing. You can't blame them. They may have thought they were doing the right thing and had unintended consequences. They may have not known that they have, if y'all haven't spoken about it, because a lot of us don't get therapy. Nobody wants to talk to anybody about what's going on with us. If we can't talk to each other about it, we need to talk to somebody else about it so we can get through it, right? So if you haven't had the professional help or the objective help, then you have to look at it objectively as possible without trying to become who the other person is, right? So you can't, people like, well, put yourself in my shoes. Yeah, I can kind of look at it from your angle, but your shoes don't fit me, you know? But that's not me being unempathetic. That's just me being realistic, right? You know, and let's talk about the current situation. Besides the fact that the way your parents put you in a pickle with your brother and sister, right? You know, the brother's engagement and his wedding, you know, finding out about the engagement through social media, that had to be a hard pill to swallow. Like, anybody who finds out about something through social media and they feel as if they're closer to you than what them finding out through social media entails, it makes them feel away. And it's not to say that their importance is any less. It's just that it affected them a little bit differently because of how their connection to you may have been perceived through their lens. And you know, everybody's perception is their reality. So if I perceive us to be closest to friends, or we closer to that, or we brothers, you know what I mean? And brothers don't do that. Like, if I think that way, that's a reality in my head. But your perception of it may be different. Your little brother's perception of it may be different, big brother, little love. You know, so this is a chance where y'all can communicate and talk about it. Because I'm going to talk about that in a minute, about regardless whether you go or not, it cannot go down either way without a conversation being had. You know we're going to get to the communication part of it in just a minute. You already know that, right? You know, but like, and as far as like not being asked to be a groomsman, like my partner Dakari said over here, you know, he said that his brother didn't ask him to be a groomsman, and he's 5 years older than him. Your brother 5 years younger than you, because your sister in the middle, according to your page, and you told us 3 years older than her, 5 years older than your brother. He said his brother had buddies that was in college with him, even though his brother was the older brother and he was the younger and wasn't asked to be in it. He still understood. If I'm correct, Dak, you did understand, right? You was okay with that, right? Because I believe you were at Steven's wedding, you know, if I do recall that you said you were there. But some of these things are a tougher pill to swallow, like I said, by you finding out the way you did. So again, your perception of it may not be his reality of it. But then again, it could have been like if your mama and daddy and your sister were there, they knew what's going on. Patrice, PD in the building. If your mama and your daddy and your sister were at the engagement, that means they knew it was going to be a surprise. That means they knew. So that right there, I can't throw a rock and hide my hands on that one. That was intentional. But what his intent behind it was may not have been as malicious as what you're thinking at the moment. Okay, so don't just be like, man, you knew I would have wanted to be there. But then again, he may have felt like you didn't want to be there. How do you know for sure that he knew that you wanted to be there? Were you always at everything? You just said you would show up to family functions. Does that mean just Thanksgiving? Does that mean Christmas? Does that mean mom and dad's birthday? What does that mean you showed up to family functions? You know? Because he may have been looking through his Instagram or Facebook where he may have had other instances where he was inviting you and you're not in the frame. Don't let his wedding be another one. That's my suggestion. Would you say, Dad, I was there, but I felt some type of way? And exactly, you were there, though. The key word is you were there, Dak. You see what I mean? You showed up for your brother. You showed up for him. You know? So, like, you cannot go either way without, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to feel as if your feelings are not valid. I never want anybody to go into this and be like, well, my feelings don't mean ish. Because they do. You know, if it's something that's boiled up to you to the point where you sat down and wrote an email to me, what's going on, Lulu? If you wrote an email to me, that means your feelings are valid. They're actual feelings inside of you, right? So I'm not going to dismiss them. I don't want you to feel like they're dismissed, or if you're not being seen. You know? Now, you may not feel welcomed in their situation, but I want you to at least feel seen by your question. You know what I mean? So your question is whether or not, like, you're wrong for not wanting to attend the wedding. Like, not wanting to attend, you're not wrong for having that feeling. Like, man, double bird to you. Double number one to you. You're not wrong for not wanting to attend the wedding, but from what you shared, it sounds like your absence at the wedding might be about protecting yourself from further, like, pain or either being spited, right? That's what it sounds like to me. Like, you're protecting yourself by juggling whether or not you want to show up at your brother's wedding. You know, because again, let's recap. You sent us a letter about why your brother didn't ask you to be a part of his wedding. And you feel like it's because the wedge that your parents drove between y'all by making you as the older brother the disciplinarian, and you separated yourself throughout the years showing up sporadically for family functions. So you want to know, like, your brother didn't ask you to be an usher, not even a groomsman. He got 8 groomsmen and he couldn't slide you in one of them spaces. I know where your mind is at right now. Like, I could see if it was 3 of them and he got his best friends, his 3 amigos, and they tight like, you know, the elastic on a big woman's drawers. Like, they can be tight like that. But out of 8, he couldn't give you one out the infinity. I know where your head is at, but I don't want you to feel that as if it's just a personal attack without going to him and finding out first. Like, you have to, first of all, y'all know I always say first thing is first is communication. It's a 2-way street. You got to go in and actively listen, right? But it's important to recognize and honor your feelings while going in. Because if you go in and you've got your feelings tucked away like a scared dog's tail, then you really won't accomplish what you're looking for. Exactly. Would you say it's hard being the eldest, but he's got to be there. And this is the truth. You have to lead by example. That's a good point there, Dakari. Like, it's hard. It's tough being the eldest for those people who are the oldest, but you got to show up because, if nothing else, because you're the oldest. And then, you know, like, if you don't show up, everybody going to ask about you. Now it's going to take away from the focus of your brother's day. That's another thing you need to consider. You know? So your absence would create a disruption by your presence not being there. What'd you say? If he asks, be receptive to what he says. Nobody wants the drama or negative energy of this on that special day. He might not know how to act, right? This is another thing. Do you know how to act in public at family functions? You said you show up to them, but we didn't say did you show up and show out at them? That's another question, killer. Do you show up and show out at family functions? Hey, you got to ask yourself that question. What's your track record? You know, so when you go to ask him these questions, don't go at him, you know, double barrel cocked like, mother, why you let me be in your wedding, man? Not even an usher? That's fucked up. You know what I mean? Of course, that might be what your inside is saying, but the way to get the answers to that is by asking him in a way that he could be receptive to the question. Because you know how people are. If your voice is at a certain volume or at a certain octave or your face is made a certain way, they automatically go back and get an AT. Exactly, Mrs. Contreras. Energy is everything. So if you want the most out of your brother's answer, give him the most out of your question by give him the most amount of respect possible for both you and him. Give him the most amount of thought possible to be put into the question before you just ask what the first part of it is. Get to answers. Ask that. Be like, hey, man, how do you feel about this? Because this is the way that it's got me feeling. Don't be afraid to share your feelings. That's therapeutic. What'd you say, MVP? I just got here. Hey, y'all, what's up, MVP? You know what I mean? Be okay with sharing your feelings with your brother and ask him, hey, bro, why you ain't ask me to be a part of your wedding? Like, this is a big day for you. It's a special day for you. And you not asking to be a part of it makes me feel as if I'm not special to you. If that's the way it makes you feel. It's a way to ask him. It's not the message, it's the delivery. Again, Amazon can place your stuff on your porch and you give them a 5-star. But if you see them on your Ring Cam throwing it, whether it's broken or not, you're going to give them a 1. So again, it's about how you deliver this question. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. because you really want to know because you're asking me. So you want to know somehow, right? So if your brother didn't ask you to be a part of his wedding and you feel as if it's because the way your parents made you be their disciplinarian, him and your sister, and now they feel like you always want to boss them around, then say, hey, I'm glad that y'all have grown. I want to see where we've grown as brother and sister. Like, of course, you always going to have that big brother energy, but it's a way to harness that and bring that around. Would you say, but what if it's all your buddies as a wedding party? And it might be all his buddies. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it might be all of his buddies. So, like, but he made it a point to say, like, out of 8 groomsmen, he wasn't asked to be a groomsman. But he said, on top of that, he wasn't even asked to be an usher. Like, a usher? Like, he couldn't even make his name on the program. That hurt. Like, you got this memento, and it's got all these names of everybody that's at this, a part of this big momentous day, and your name is nowhere to be found. You got to write it in on yours in Sharpie. But everybody else who took a program home with the picture of the couple on the front and all this other kind of stuff, they don't remember you was in it. And that's what I'm saying. Would he feel better as an usher? I don't know whether he would feel better not as an usher there, Lucy Lowe 78, but I feel like he would feel at least included as an usher. What'd you say, Vicky? You said, my daddy always said that if it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's the truth. Your daddy's speaking the truth, Vicky. Your daddy's speaking the truth. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know, Lucy Lowe, whether he would feel better, but I know by the base of what I got from his letter, he would feel at least included if his brother would have asked him to be an usher. Because he would say, hey, man, these my frat brothers. You know what I mean? Like, this been my next door neighbor. He been in our room more than you have. You know what I mean? Like, he can throw all those things in there. You understand what I'm saying? If he come honestly. What'd you say, Lulu? You saying my daughter invited this. She was closest to her graduation. She loves the rest, but it was she invited those that were closest to her graduation. She loves the rest, but it was what it was. And that's true, especially with like invitations and like people gotta pay, for the dinners. Would you say do what it do? I show up and be the sharpest and coolest man in the reception. That's it, Dak. That's what I'm saying. I'll be in there dressed to the nines. You don't want me here. You don't want me in your wedding, but they going to remember my fly ass. They going to be like, that was the cleanest usher ever. Even if I wasn't even an usher, they going to be like, man, your brother, he was clean. Their wedding party was clean. But did you see his brother's suit? And it matched the wedding party. I'm going to be fresh. I'm going to be casket fresh out your wedding. Like, they going to be like, golly. Especially because you ain't asked him to be in it. You say, what doesn't make sense? He secluded himself and now wants to be included. And you know how it is. You know exactly how that is, Mrs. Contreras. That goes for anybody that's, like, I ain't y'all friend. Give me my ball. But y'all want to play tomorrow? Like, you know how it is. That's one of them give me my ball, take it home type people. But want to be the first one knocking on your door, can you come outside and play tomorrow? And that's probably why he wrote into me, like, is he wrong for not wanting to show up? Because he secluded himself. He said it. He said he separated himself. What do you say, McFadden? If the support is genuine, then he shouldn't matter if he's in the wedding party or not. And that's true too. If you genuinely want to be there to support your brother, I ain't even hit that point yet. McFadden just hit the nail on the head. If you truly want to genuinely support your brother and show that you can show up for him, and he knows that you're not a part of the wedding party, and they probably wondering if you're going to show up or not anyway now because you're not a part of the wedding party. Your siblings know you, especially if y'all grew up together. They know you. So if you show up to the wedding, you mess around and be the one who they'll let read everything. You be the person that read the announcements or read the program. Say oftentimes people make weddings about them. This is true, and not about the groom and bride. Have a seat, and this is true. Sometimes invitees have a way of making themselves the honorees. They make it about them. Like, why we got this food? Well, why we got to come over here for this wedding? Or why we got to, it's not your wedding, sir or ma'am. Have a seat. Like, you invited, come sit down. You invited to the wedding, right? Come sit down. I don't want you to make this about you. This is about us for today. You say it could change the relationship for the better. It could. It could change the relationship for the better. Like if you show up with genuine support, this right here would be like, damn, that's my brother big bro showed up. Like, and he may be like, damn, bro. You know, he may invite you up there to do a toast instead of the best man. Like, you know, my brother, I couldn't have my brother in the wedding today because, you know, I got all these knuckleheads and, you know, they razzed me all about it. You know, but let me invite my brother up here to give me a toast. One of the persons I looked up, you know, he could have done all that by just seeing how you move. He said some people don't know how to put that ego aside, though. And this is true. You know what I say? Ego equals eliminating your greatest outcome. Eliminating the greatest outcome is when you put your ego in front. You take away anything that could possibly work in the best benefit of all involved when you focus it on your ego. You say, let's hope not too much alcohol gets involved. This is true, too, because, you know, drunken mind equals sober thoughts. Drunken minds tell sober thoughts. But again, I hope you have this conversation. You know, weddings are significant milestones, man. Sometimes being the bigger person means just showing up whether or not it's tough for you. Weddings are a big milestone in people's lives, man. Like attending the wedding could be a form of healing for everybody involved. Being at that wedding could heal. Your parents could see that. Yeah, drunk men don't tell no tales. Exactly. Your parents can see like, damn, our son is really the man who we thought he would grow up to be. You know, or our son is really, you know, supportive of his brothers through it all. Because they know you wasn't invited to the engagement party. Because again, they might be like, you know, Ray gonna show out. Don't invite him. He gonna get here, take one too many shots, and he gonna mess around and tell such and such I'm about to propose. Like, you know, they may have known even then too. You got to know people for who they are, for what they do. So you know what you do and what you are. You know how you act. So take some of those things into account. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it personal. Really have an open conversation with your brother. Be like, hey, bro, like, you know, man to man, like, you know, pause or whatever y'all got to say. No diddy. Whatever y'all got to say, like, you know, I'm in my feelings right now. And I want to talk to you about it. So, you know, I know this your day and I don't want you to think you got to change up anything for me, but I just want to let you know how I feel because I want to be there for you, but I want to know how you feel about why you didn't include me in that day. You know, you may have not known it would have hurt my feelings. You may have not known Big Bro would have came to you, heart, you know, hat in hand and heart on my sleeve, talking to you, expressing to you how I feel about you. But this is how I feel. You got to be the bigger brother and be the bigger man. Would you say, Vicky, and listen and understand. Don't just listen because you just only want to say what you want to say. You got to hear the other person. Oh, you know, that's what I always say. You have to actively listen. Be receptive to what your brother got to say back to that. Like, you know what, bro, I appreciate you for coming to me. He may say, I appreciate you coming to me because I purposely excluded you because I didn't know how you would act. Or I didn't even know that I excluded you or you would want to be a part of it because of how you've been acting lately. Or he may say, like, it slipped my mind. I was completely oblivious just because, like, you know, we don't really get down like that. But you have to be receptive to what he has to say in return. You know, and oh yeah, you're right about that, Mrs. Contreras. He cannot wait to the wedding day to speak up. It has to be done before. It has to be done before you going, or it has to be done before you ain't going. You want to have this conversation because you're feeling not just some type of way. You are feeling a type of way. Now, it's not just, it's just something. No, it's a something. You feeling just like this. Slighted, overlooked, unseen, unwanted. All those words can be put onto the categories in which you feel right now. So you don't want to go to the wedding, which is supposed to be a joyous occasion, with those thoughts rooted as your precursor to your arrival. You know, like anytime, you know, I look at actors when they come on the scene, right? And I'll be like, I can tell what their backstory was before they got there. Were they running? Were they walking? Were they just talking to somebody outside at the pool hall? You say when the Reverend say speak now, forever hold your peace, then he gonna stand up. Nah, man, you can't do that. Yeah, when the Reverend say, is anybody object? You can't get him like, yeah, I object. I wasn't even asked to be in this wedding. This is a sham. Like, you don't want to do that. So you want to be able to have that conversation prior to. What'd you say, Lucy Lowe? He also needs to do some soul searching. Don't make y'all relationship, I don't know what to mean. Don't make y'all relationship go the wrong way, probably is what she's trying to say right there. I don't know what she's trying to say. What I'm trying to say is don't make y'all relationship y'all own issue. Right, and that's a good thing. You don't want to make the relationship between you and your brothers or you and your relationship between you and your parents the issue on that day. We say if he, the writer, doesn't communicate his feelings and lets his brother know, it will all remain an issue for future family functions. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Again, you don't want this to fester and blow up later. You feel like a shaking up soda pop. And then later on, when that top is loosened, the people that weren't even supposed to get wet by this get sprayed. So now you include those that don't even need to be involved by when you could have just simply sat down and had a man-to-man with your brother. Talk to him. If you want your sister to be there, you want your parents to be there, that's cool too, but that would be about all of y'all. Right now, this was about you and your brother, how you feel like your relationship is not as tight as you may thought it might have been, to at least be included as an usher. Not Usher Raymond. We didn't ask you to be the singer, Usher Raymond out there. He just want to be an usher. He just want to hand out the program with his name on it that say Usher. You can call him a seat assistant. Whatever. You can euphemize how you want to. Like, he just wanted to feel involved. You just wanted to feel involved, big brother, little love. And I get that. I completely get that. I understand. I overstand. But again, you can't go to your brother. My biggest word of advice is do not go to your brother with you as the focus. Go to it with y'all's relationship as the focus. What I mean by that is, tell him how you feel, but you have questions about y'all's relationship and you want clarity in that. And that, I believe, in my opinion, IMO would help you kind of understand his decision-making in regards to him not asking you to be a part of his wedding, Yeah, if you choose to go, it's okay. If you choose not to go, it's okay. Again, like I said before, it may be you protecting yourself. I don't have the entire story. It may be you protecting yourself from future issues or something along those lines. But then, like my peanut gallery said, you can be the bigger person, and the relationship could probably benefit from it. And always remember, people gonna remember who was and who was not at their wedding. People gonna remember who was invited that didn't show up. And they gonna remember who wasn't invited and did show up. That part. Because when extra people show up at your wedding, be like, where you come from? It's $200 a plate, homeboy. Homeboy, you can't be adding plus foes. You have for two people. You have for two people. I gotta have a plate for the reverend, all that. You know what I mean? So, but my thing is this here again. So in the end, it's all about finding a balance. And a balance between your feelings and then potentially opening up like a door to, reconciliation. Because that's what you're seeking here. You want to reconcile the relationship you wanted back in the day that didn't come about, right? So at the end of the day, you want to remember that there's no right or wrong answer here for you. You want to be able to say like, hey, bro, like I'm glad we had this talk and we got to the middle of this. Because I don't like to say getting to the bottom, but I want to get to the middle of it, to the meat of it, to the source of this. And, to all my listeners out there, anybody who's out there watching and viewing and subscribing and stuff like that, remember that relationships are challenging and they change. Like there's ebbs and flows in relationships like the tide. So you have to be attentive to what the ebbs and flows and the changes that are occurring. Don't just be in a relationship and not involved in the relationships. Did y'all catch that? Don't just be in a relationship and not involved in the relationship. If you're in a similar situation and you're out there, don't you have to navigate through this alone. Y'all can always send me a letter. Send me an email and holla at the homie at gmail.com. That's HOLLA ATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. And I appreciate all y'all for always tuning in. Who we got over there? What's going on? Good evening, Donna Lynn. Glad you came in from Toronto, Canada. Hey, how you doing up there, eh? Appreciate you, eh? I've been watching a lot of Canadian shows. I'm going to come holla at me. Hit me in the inbox. What'd you say, Patrice? Protect yourself, protect your peace. How you can include your siblings. He made it to a point to where you don't get invited, so it sounds like he's the black sheep. So he's not saying it's about his own actions. And that's true. Again, reevaluate your actions. But again, until next time, everybody, be good to each other and to yourselves. I'm the homie 360. I'm going to holla at y'all in a minute.
What's up, everybody? It's your main man, 360 the Poet. Hey, Las Vegas, get ready to celebrate Freedom Day with Rainbow Dreams Educational Foundation at the 23rd Annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival. It's going down Saturday, June 15th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Expo World Market Center located at 435 South Grand Central Parkway. Join us for a Jubilee celebration like no other, featuring food, vendors, live DJs, prizes, and a free concert you won't want to miss, featuring Billboard Top 10 artist Jay Brown, along with Maya Milan, Vice City, and Vegas' own Ray Millie. Free health screenings provided by Southern Nevada Health District. There's a kid zone, prizes, giveaways, and more. Empowering people and igniting the culture at the 23rd Annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival. For more information or to register for your e-tickets, visit June19lv.com. That's June19lv.com. This event is powered by Zappos, Google, and the Love Live campaign. Love freely, love openly, love fearlessly. Live you equals you.